Welcome back to today's Sunday stretch. I'm going to try and make these a regular occurrence. This one's going to be kind of focused on mainly hip mobility to start with. I'm recovering from a back injury and basically my hips are made of concrete. So if you struggle with any of these positions, that's only natural, but hopefully we can start to loosen you up a little bit. So first thing we're going to start with is a 90-90. So with this, make sure you're actually sat on your kind of bum. A lot of us will kind of slouch over. Now, what you want to actually do is have one leg coming out in front of you. So I've got my left leg coming out in front of me, and it comes at a 90-degree position. So this kind of my knee joint here, that is at a 90-degree position. I also like to take my ankle to put that at a 90-degree position, just because then everything is almost the same. So my back leg, at this point, I've got a slight gap here, but I want to kind of extend that a little bit. Push my knee back slightly, and bring my foot out, my back foot, so my right foot out a little bit more. Now from this position, at the moment I'm facing towards you and the camera and my foot. I'm going to turn my chest and my shoulders so they're facing towards my knee. Now in this position, what I want to try and do is bring my chest up as tall as possible. So I've got a nice big chest. Now, kind of the intent of this exercise is driving our front knee, front shin into the ground. Not necessarily as important as what I want you to concentrate on with your hips. So we are going to be hinging over. Now a hinge is not a bend. So just because you may be able to get yourself down low towards your knee, not necessarily the bit we're looking for. The bit we're actually looking for is the hinge from the hips. So imagine you've got a pair of headlights, and you've got a pair of headlights on your hips here. You want to kind of turn them and point them towards the ceiling. So it's a little bit rotation of my pelvis here. I'm going to stick my glutes out or stick my bum out. Think of a duck ass where you're trying to almost turn in and stick your glutes out like that. Now from this position, I'm going to think about driving that front knee, front shin into the ground. This front knee's on the floor, that foot's on the floor. My shoulders are nice and square. My sternum is pointing towards that knee there. As I'm driving this front knee, front shin into the ground, I'm trying to rotate my hips up as I hinge myself over. Pressure on this front knee, front shin at all times as you're going down. So really try and hinge yourself over as low as you possibly can. And that's all the range of motion that I actually have in that position. So from here, I'm just going to bring myself back up. Exactly the same again. Drive your front knee, front shin into the ground. That's the motion we're looking for. This is actually getting your glute med kind of activated. So if you're doing this before a session, it's not too bad because this is going to be getting your glute med activated here. You've got some external rotation on this front leg going on and some internal rotation on this back leg going on. Both really important for stability and kind of mobility of our hip joints. Same thing, hinge yourself over. If you're doing this before a session, I'd advise kind of holding this stretch, holding this pressure for 3 to 5 seconds. If you're doing this afterwards, then hold it for a little bit longer. I'm doing mine afterwards, so I'm going to hold this for a little bit longer. Each time I go in, I reset myself, and I try and get myself as low as possible. I almost work my way into it. I'm driving this front knee, front shin into the ground. This leg's still staying where it is. I'm hinging myself over, putting those headlights up towards the ceiling as I come down. Slowly just allowing myself to kind of work through this range of motion. Slowly hinge yourself over. Go as far as you can. Some people will be able to bring their hands out in front and just sit down on this, but I still really want you to make sure you're focusing on this bit here where you kind of rotate in and your hips are up. Some of you get cramped in this little bit here. Some people might get cramped here. You can just start to basically reset or change sides. You change sides this time. So, very similar thing. I make sure I sat on my bum. I bring my knee, leg comes out 90 degrees, foot goes 90 degrees, this back ankle comes out, I square my shoulders up. I drive this front knee, front shin into the ground. I've got a poor connection to this side, it's actually surprising, because my right side is normally my better side for everything, but this one, obviously not. So from here, hinge yourself over, drive this front knee, front shin into the ground, really try and create a tension. For me, it's really difficult to create that intention. It's It's really difficult to create the intent of driving that front knee, front shin down like that. As you do it, big chest, drive this front knee, front shin down. Get those headlights pointed up to the ceiling. Keep a nice big chest and hinge yourself over. Keep moving as far as you can. And come back up. Your sternum pointing towards your knee. Drive down. Keep yourself nice and tall. And hinge yourself over. Slowly, 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 just work through this range of motion. You're gonna hold the first one for 3 to 5 seconds. Second one's gonna be hold somewhere between 5 to 15 seconds. And then our third one's gonna be hold for a little bit longer. Now, some of you genuinely may struggle getting this position. Some of you, you're gonna sit upright without using your hands. See, I'm kind of compensating here. So use your hands as a bit of support if you need to. Drive this front knee, front shin to the ground. Hinge myself over and I'm trying to get as low as I can. Right, so we've been using quite a lot of intent with these. So I'm going to turn my body to face the other way because you're going to see me go between these two movements now. So I'm going to hinge myself over and I'm going to go as low as I can this time. See, I'm not too worried about what I'm doing with my hips anymore. I'm just going to get as low as I can. And go the other way. Watch me put my hand on my opposite foot. And that's so I can rotate from the shoulders down and round as I come into this position. Back up the other way. Each time, open your hips as wide as possible and go into this next one. Now I have really, really poor kind of mobility around my hip, and the pigeon pose for me is impossible, so we're going to try and get into that in a minute. Before we do, feet come together. So, on this position, what I like to do is if I put my feet together here, kind of out in front of me a little bit, I'll pick my bum up and I'll bring myself in. Rather than being back here or sat on my back, I'm going to lift myself up with my hands and bring myself in close. From here, I'm going to try and stay nice and tall. Hands going to go underneath my ankles there. I'm going to sit as tall as possible as I drive my elbows into my knees. Now, for me, this is quite intense. What I can do, and what I do sometimes, you either hold on to your hands, hold on to your feet, sorry, hold on to your ankles, or you just try and sit nice and tall. For some of you, you will be able to allow your knees to fall towards the ground. For me, because it's difficult, the easiest thing I can do is almost use my ankles to push down. Sit nice and tall. When you're stretching, someone told me before to try and breathe with your muscles. I know that sounds really strange, but take a big breath in. And as you relax, try and relax that stretch, relax those muscles. Same again. Big breath in. And relax those muscles. Good. Really, really good. Now from here, one leg comes out, other leg comes in. Again, pick yourself up, make sure you're on your glutes. Now you're just going to, keeping this knee down if you can, try and work your way forward. Again, any type of movement like this, we don't want to be here. We want, if we're trying to stretch the hamstring, to hinge. So keep a nice big chest and try and keep as tall as we can as we drive down. Whenever you're trying to stretch a muscle, if you tense the opposing muscle, so if I'm trying to stretch my hamstring, if I tense my quad, that actually pushes into my hamstring, creates the stretch a little bit longer. Try and sit nice and tall. Some people will be able to grab their toe here. There's nothing wrong with that, and that does it, you'll actually feel your stretch probably behind your knee a bit more here, but you're probably actually stretching your calf rather than stretching your hamstrings, what we're looking to do, which is why I kind of like the cue of just grab hold of your legs, tense your quads so it drives it down. And I just start to work my way down. Now I'm extremely non-mobile. The point of doing these Sunday stretches is just over the next like couple of weeks and try and get better, basically. This is not my strength. My strength is kind of strengths for back squats because I did my back hit. It will be my strength again, I promise. But the kind of goal of this Sunday stretch is just to purely start to work through some imbalances, try to make myself a little bit more mobile. So from here, straddle position. Again, pick yourself up, lean forward, try and grab hold of your feet if you can. Again, in this position, I want you to think about drive your chest forward. Imagine you're trying to lift your chest up. This logo on my t-shirt, try and push it towards like someone in a row in front of you. As I try to straighten my back, this is going to start to like intensify this stretch a little bit. Nice. So now we're going to lunge forward. So from this position, press up, lunge one leg forward, drop your back knee down, and just allow yourself to get as deep as you can, trying to get my shoulder by my knee. So from here, I can take my hands out in front of me a little bit. And that will allow me to get a little bit deeper. What I'm not trying to do is allow myself to be like open that way. I want to bring my hip here. So imagine I'm trying to like get it towards my ankle there. So as I'm here, just rotating that in there. Again, hands out in front of you. Some people will be able to drop towards their elbows. I don't quite have that mobility in me yet. This will be stretching out your glutes, your hamstrings, your adductors, a hip flexor on my back leg. All these muscles around the hip that will stop us from getting any type of depth in the squat. That will especially help us with the deadlifts. So I hinge forward, drop this back knee to the floor. I'm gonna get my shoulder down towards my elbow. And from here, bring that right hip. Rotate it to look towards that ankle. Again, hands out in front of you. Drop yourself down as low as you can. Now, this is going to be the interesting bit. In a second, I'm going to try going into the pigeon pose, which is my worst one. It's going to be our last one of the day. This is one of the best routines I found for like kind of stretching my hips out. And I think this is what I've been doing pretty much this routine every night before I go to bed. That position where I sat in, I have no idea what it's called. When my feet are together, driving my elbows into my knees. I literally sit in that while I meditate. It's quite funny. Alright, let's see what this pigeon pose looks like. So, from this position, foot comes out in front of you. and put your knee towards the floor. So I drop my back knee towards the floor. Foot comes across a little bit. Now what you really want, don't know if you can see mine, but mine's back here a little bit. What you actually want is it to be like there, so like at this 90-degree position. If you can't, don't worry about the 90 degree. We'll just sit into this. Same thing with this. Don't be all like hunched up. Try and extend yourself up. Now all of these stretches are good stretches for your hips. And this could be a little good routine that you decide you want to do. Muscles around our hips include all the glute muscles, our hamstrings, hip flexors. Anything which kind of moves our hip. Our adductors bring our legs in, our abductors bring our legs out. Externally rotating, internally rotating us. Just as we finally sit into this last stretch, thank you for watching. Thank you for doing this with me. If you did enjoy it, give me a thumbs up, comment below what other kind of stretches you want me to do. I'm gonna do some for my thoracic mobility because mine's poor again, around your kind of, basically around your shoulders towards your mid-level is what I'm doing next. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you did like it, give us a thumbs up, comment below, and we will see you on the next one.